So this is all very good. That means, so this is like, okay, there's a bias, right? This is our neutral, this is more positive, the lump is over here. Yeah? So that's the basic observation. But we have to look for frequency of word usage, and that's this piece that we kind of go into here. So these are jellyfish plots. This is just simply in the papers we talked about. I just wrote the word jellyfish plot, and no one said you can't say that. So this is a thing now. So let me explain what these are. Right. So at the top, this is for English. For the English data set we had. So we have 4 corpora here. We have Twitter, Google Books, New York Times, and music lyrics. And if we get there with Google Books, I want to say there is an, because I've tried to make all these other slides. There are some real concerns with these things, right? So these books are 1 vote each, essentially. Twitter is different. This has all the retweets and so on, so there's real amplification here. So the sense of popularity is in this, right? If a topic's being talked about, you kind of get all of the discussion about it rather than just, here's a topic that's being talked about. I mean, that's the difference. So this is almost like a dictionary-like thing, and this is the spoken version, right? This is just it's not quite a dictionary, but it has that kind of feel to it. So that's just the way it is. New York Times, so again, we're missing the popularity of articles here. We don't know that, right? But we know what they write about over and over again. Music lyrics, same thing, missing popularity. So there are issues with the corpora, but it's a mixed thing. And maybe we need I don't think we have a good term for this. It would be good to have a good term for this. This is really just a silly piece of nonsense. A good way of expressing whether a corpora has popularity encoded or not, right? And so this does, although we could do something even further there. We could say tweets and then multiply a tweet by its favorites. You could do that as well. Yeah, so I guess what we do is we multiply it by its retweet number in a sense because they're just in there. And so, that's good. I mean, all these words, like to say again, right? This is fame, right? Reclaim and renown. Renown literally means to say again, to say the name again. This is not bad, but you could try the favorite thing. Favorite's pretty soft, though. People just favorite for... All right. Okay, so let me explain these things. So what we've done is, here's the underlying distribution for 5,000 words that we have scores, same in all of these. The yellow here shows you what's above neutral. So 5 is neutral, 9 and 1. Again, these 2 Likert scales. So you can see just, visually, there's more of a lump to the right. It's skewed to the right. A little less for music lyrics, but it's skewed to the right in all of these. And then what we've done is run a 500, so okay, what's going on? Okay. Let me say this properly. So each dot here represents a word, and it is the rank of the word in terms of frequency of usage here, right? So the most commonly used word is somewhere in here. The 5,000th most commonly used word is down here. And then on the horizontal axis is its average happiness score. So here's a pretty commonly used word that's negative. Here's a commonly used word that's positive. Rarer, not the rarest, but rarer word. And rarer word, so negative and positive. Does that make sense? And so you can see this as kind of scatter, and the thing we're trying to look at here is how does the frequency of usage, and here it's rank, how does the frequency of usage play into happiness? So it could be that rare words are negative, right? The rare words have some negative, or that they're really neutral here, and it's like the rarer words have emotion in them, and maybe as you get to the rarest words, there's no emotion in them because you're down to like chemical things and so on. So, right, this is, okay. So what we did is just take a little window of 500. So this is going to be the first 500 words. We compute the deciles for them, right? So we basically find this histogram, take this sample in here, find the deciles, and that's what all of these are, right? This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. And then we're going to slide that down, just move it one at a time, and compute the deciles, and then we'll be able to draw these lines. So if we were seeing that this distribution is not sort of stationary with respect to rank or frequency, this would move in some way. Maybe it could open up because it's actually very tight for the commonly used words, and so on. But it doesn't seem to do that, and you can do regressions and things and play around with it. There's basically a good, generally these things are going down. I mean, the less words out here, so this one is messier. And so you see that's roughly true for all of them. And I guess if you stand back, you can see some drift maybe, right? There's sort of tightening up. But the broad story is that this positive bias holds for words roughly independent of their frequency of usage, right? So rare words have a positivity bias and common words do as well. And you just have to do something like this, right? You have to use, this is, these are the elephants and these are the mice, right? You can't just like put them all in one lump. You have to acknowledge their size. All right, so we're going to make a bunch of these. Oh, what happened to my voice? Bunch of these. And so, right, so this is more jellyfishing. So they're jellyfish plots, right? They have little things, yeah? Because they look like them. And so this is something, I guess you could use these over and over, right, for different kinds of things, if there's some variation here that they seem reasonable. So this is a thing that I also made up, which is a gel background plot. So each point now has like a little blob behind it. I don't know why it is, but it just seems like, maybe it's harder to see on this thing, but it helps just with the visual thing, I think. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So you can see all these little bloops, and there's their actual, their real location in terms of happiness, and Frank. It's the rank. Yeah, 1 through 5,000. And so I wrote a little thing that just goes through and plots a few of them, right? Right. This is the thing that kind of puts a little angle on them so they could kind of fit in relatively. And there's sort of roughly one for each little. There's a little sort of squares here. So it gives you a sense of what's going on, right? So these are the rarer words that are negative, right? So rape and anger and suffer. These are bad words, recession. And as you go up through to more commonly used ones, so death and funeral. So this is the New York Times, so it has obituaries, right? So there's going to be a lot. You can see some of these things popping out. Killed, right? These are bad things. And then across to, so administration, knowing the word 6 doesn't really excite people. Elderly, 3, that's going to be the third. These are all neutral, at least on average, right? So that doesn't mean they don't have a big standard deviation. And then, right, so we know about that. And so mother, of course, love. So those words are there partly because, I think that's obituaries as well. Anyway, and like the weddings section. Yeah. So, which we were in actually in 1998. So, in laugh, enjoyed, romantic, achievement. So these are less common but positive words. So this gives you a sense of what's going on with these things, right? Do they make sense? Seem okay? So we want to. And I've got to tell you, people still refuse to look at the words in all these analyses with sentiment and so on. Maybe it's a bit hard, but they just don't show you the words behind shifts. And you can't trust these things.